Picture yourself staring down a massive supermarket aisle. Every single box on these shelves is screaming the exact same thing at you. They are all natural, wholesome, and guaranteed to boost your energy. When confronted with that kind of relentless noise, you squint, you hesitate, and then you just grab the one you know. People default to what feels clear and ignore what looks confused. It happens in a fraction of a second. But that tiny moment of selection proves whether a company actually knows how to communicate exactly who they are and what they can do for you. The winner in a crowded market is rarely the loudest option on the shelf. It is the one that manages to deliver a message of trust the fastest. It is incredibly easy to assume that achieving this kind of recognition comes down to designing a clever logo, picking a catchy tagline, or choosing the right killer palette. But a brand is a functional tool. Its entire purpose is to instantly telegraph your identity and the specific problem you are going to solve for the person looking at it. Without that clarity, the process gets messy. Designers pull in one direction, leadership pulls in another, and whole teams end up debating subjective colors instead of business goals. This diagram outlines a practical, repeatable roadmap to solve that problem. It maps brand building across 5 distinct phases: research, strategy, design, touchpoints, and governance. Adopting this sequential roadmap turns branding into a repeatable craft. It provides a structured way to replace executive guesswork with a decision-making system that leadership and designers can actually agree on. The first phase, research, requires slowing down to listen. Rather than guessing what an audience wants, this step uncovers how a product actually fits into someone's daily life, which immediately reduces internal anxiety. A highly effective starting point is the touchpoint sweep. It visualizes scattered customer interactions, from a physical loyalty card to a digital chat. When mapped chronologically, a clear customer journey emerges, showing exactly where the experience delights people and where it disappoints. Phase 2, strategy, takes all that sprawling data and narrows it into a specific focus. Think of a neighborhood bakery that decides to specialize entirely in everyday bread, rather than stretching its resources to chase chaotic wedding cakes and pastry catering. This focus gets locked into a document like this one, a brand brief. It explicitly details the purpose, the audience, and the value proposition before a single design choice is made. Until those core parameters are agreed upon, any visual choices you make will be entirely arbitrary and disconnected from your actual business goals. Only after the brief is approved do you move to phase 3, design. This is the moment where the abstract strategy is finally given a physical, tangible presence. Every visual choice is a strategic translation. Color sets the emotional tone, while typography shapes the voice. You see the stark difference in this graphic. A tutoring service needs the soft, calming palette and clean text on the left to project clarity, while a streetwear label requires the aggressive, high-contrast colors and chunky lettering on the right to signal energy. To prove these visual ideas actually work, you have to pull them out of the presentation deck and place them into real-world scenarios. You mock up a mobile app interface or a physical delivery box to see how the elements hold up. The success of an identity design is entirely based on how accurately it engineers the strategic brief into a memorable, functional form. That functional form gets scaled up in phase 4, touchpoints. A successful identity system behaves exactly like a well-packed suitcase. Everything fits, everything has a specific place, and nothing feels accidental. To achieve this, a brand's visual rules must remain unbroken across an entire organization. Whether a customer is looking at physical packaging or a digital grid, the aesthetic must be entirely cohesive. If a yoga studio uses a calming palette on its digital schedules, carrying those exact same tones into the physical space signals a deliberate steadiness. This level of consistency ensures the brand feels the same across every platform. When a customer encounters that kind of reliability, the recognition of the brand starts to solidify into trust. The final phase, governance, shifts the work from building the identity to protecting it. As a company scales, strict rule sets prevent different departments from fracturing the aesthetic and diluting the shared experience. But enforcing a visual style guide only gets you so far. The true guardians of any system are the internal employees who understand the core mission and actively work as brand champions. A front desk team that greets customers with the genuine warmth described in the company values will generate loyalty far faster than perfect typography ever could. A corporate identity is highly fragile. Surviving at scale requires an equal combination of strict visual governance and a passionate internal culture. Meaningful recognition does not happen by accident. It is the result of a deliberate, step-by-step process of defining a specific purpose, listening to the audience, and enforcing rigorous consistency. When each phase aligns, the identity functions as a shared promise. It lives in the daily interactions people have with the brand, giving them a reason to believe in the company and carry that trust forward.